But, Tone, we have a jam-packed show. We have a lot of stuff. It's going to be a gaming-heavy show.
Yes.
It was Summer Game Fest last weekend, and all throughout the week, we had the Summer Game Fest on Friday, the Xbox Showcase on Sunday, the Ubisoft Forward event on Monday, and Nintendo said, fuck it, we'll do our Direct whenever we want to, and they just didn't show up for anything.
Which is what they usually do.
Nintendo doing Nintendo things.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. But we still have a ton of shit to talk about, so let's get into it, man. Summer Game Fest has come and gone. And it kicked off on Friday night with Jeff Keighley, he of the Game Awards, and he's, everyone's kind of indifferent on Jeff Keighley. Some people, don't really care for his, they say he's got like a smug personality, and
he does.
Others appreciate what he tries to do for a game. He tries to, it's a balancing act.
I'm balanced with it.
I know, yeah, like you, some things annoy you, but you also have to respect the fact that he's doing more to get gaming out there more than just like, kind of like being a goofy ass like hobby, like a legitimate form of art that gets the recognition that that's the equivalent of like the Oscars and stuff. He wants to have it that at the same respectability in the medium platforms. Like he wants it right up there with movies and TV.
Bring
shows.
back Morgan Webb though. Do something like that.
Yeah, man. What is she doing? Did she do anything?
I'll text her later and ask her.
She's like, leave me alone. I thought I blocked this number. How do you keep getting my number? But so it started off with Friday night. We had the Summer Game Fest show that Jeff Keighley hosts. That's kind of like his mid-year thing, and then he does the Game Awards in December. So this is kind of like get you excited about what's coming up in the fall and going forward in 2025. And, before the event, he came out and basically told people, hey, keep your expectations lower than normal. And a lot of people were like, what? What does that mean? Why is Jeff Keighley not hyping this shit up? And some people actually took it as maybe he's telling us to lower expectations so he can shock us with good stuff. And so everyone's like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, usually he's a hype guy.
Who would do that?
Apparently Jeff Keighley would, apparently. But, like, here's the thing, man. Like, the Summer Game Fest came out. It was a 2-hour show. You and I, or no, wait, did we didn't do a live stream for that, did we?
Not for that one. I got off of work and I sat down. I was ready to go, though.
We watched it, and it wasn't, I'm not saying it was a disaster, but it was. I would say it was probably one of the weaker shows that Jeff Keighley has done since he's kind of taken on this whole Summer Game Fest, Game Awards rotation. What's that?
Third year?
I think third or fourth year, yeah. But I felt like it was one of his weaker shows.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem with that is, dude, is because of where we're at right now in this industry and all the studios getting closed down. Before this weekend, we really didn't have a whole lot of games to look forward to or know about. I mean, it's I feel like the output of games has really come down to a slow crawl right now. Like, as studios are still trying to figure out how they can make these games without breaking the bank, and keeping them under budget. But at the same time, it's difficult right now. Like, the industry is just in kind of a disarray, and so, like, Xbox had its own thing going on. It went through the whole process with the court thing with buying Activision, and they had multiple studio closures that made no fucking sense. They had a lot of negative news around them. And I think part of the issue why Jeff's show, again, it wasn't a bad show. In fact, there was a lot of games that he showed at the Summer Game Fest. A big, diverse selection of indie games.
Smaller developers
kind of took the forefront there. But there was some big stuff on there. I mean, we saw, I thought No Room in Hell 2 looked fucking dope. The 8-player co-op game where you kind of like start off on this huge map separated and you got to try to find each other and work together to complete your goals. I thought that looked really good. We saw Civ 7 got announced. I know my brother dropped the fucking load to that one.
Yep, my crew got excited.
Alan Wake 2 DLC got announced, and there's some that came out like this weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of big stuff there. Valorant's coming to consoles. Power Rangers Reader Rewind. That looked fucking dope, like an old school brawler.
Love those kind of games.
And then we found out stuff like the first Descendant is dropping July 2nd. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff that they announced, but it was just nothing earth-shattering. Nothing like, holy fucking shit, how did he get this game?
No Keanu Reeves going, you're beautiful.
No Keanu Reeves. Nothing of that stuff, man. And
no
I think
Hideo Kojima either.
No Hideo Kojima at any show.
Yeah,
any of the
weird.
shows. Which is really, really odd because usually that's right. But I mean, who knows? Game Awards. Maybe he shows up because Death Stranding 2 is supposed to come out next year. So I'm assuming he'll probably show up at the Game Awards to talk about that. But I do think part of the issue also, Tone, is that Xbox and we'll talk about their show in a minute, I feel like Xbox had to save all their ammo for their show.
Yeah.
For the current state of the brand and Xbox itself, they needed to take everything they had and put it into their show. And they had no room to be like, hey, Jeff, here's a Gears trailer. Run this at the end. Be your one last thing. No. They kept everything for them. Ubisoft show, which I don't know why it even existed, they didn't have a whole lot to show. I mean, the only games that stood out to me in their show was Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed 15, or Assassin's Creed Shadows, but we already saw that a couple. So I mean, they're not going to give them those because we've already seen them.
Yeah, and only one of the two actually got a lot of positive love.
Right. And then like then we mentioned the state of play was a week or two ago, and that was kind of
that was kind of a stinker.
And Sony, I feel like the rumor has it Sony is sitting on all their big guns for 2025, which they'll possibly, apparently, they're going to show at a rumored showcase in September.
Okay.
So maybe we'll see more of their big IPs in September.
Whatever.
And Nintendo just said, fuck it, we ain't showing up. I mean, they were literally nowhere to be seen. There was supposed to be a direct, like this week or the end of the week.
They're planning on a Switch. They're holding cards heavy.
They're not. I mean, they're not rushing to show. They don't have to rush to show. They're just like, Nintendo's gonna do Nintendo.
Right.
So take all into consideration, Keighley did probably the best that he could with what he was given to work with.
Right.
And to sit there and have to take stuff like when one of your big reveals is Alan Wake 2 DLC. Not to say Alan Wake 2 isn't a great game. It reviewed incredibly well, multiple game awards. I mean, it's an awesome game. But DLC is not a megaton announcement. Mm-hmm. And so by all accounts, his show was kind of eh. I mean, there's some good stuff there, but just not what you would expect from a Jeff Keighley produced show.
Right. That's fair.
And to make matters worse, Jeff Keighley, I don't know what he was expecting when he put out this tweet on Twitter. He put out a tweet that said, how would you rate the Summer Game Fest show? And I don't know what exactly he was hoping to get, but these are the final results. How would you grade today's Summer Game Fest live show?
Did he ever comment back on this?
No. A D. 40%. A D. On a 250,000 plus votes.
Now, I got to say, at least before we dive past that, like, you got to almost wonder that the problem with the gaming community is that there wasn't Sony, there wasn't Xbox. So for there's a lot of people that are so brand loyal.
That's a valid point.
That they're already going to have a skewed point. Like, whereas like yourself or I, who, for the most part try to be as objective as possible. We play a lot of single player games. That's why we love the ecosystem on Sony.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of great games on Xbox that, we'll talk about in a minute, especially that reinvigorated our love for that brand.
Oh yeah.
But that almost, like, to me, I feel like more objectively, I think a high C is where I would.
I voted C here, but I was like fair. C plus B minus.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's where it was. But I do think you're right, man. That's a good point. You got a lot of toxic fanboys on both the PlayStation and Xbox side. Probably like, no, fuck this. And then you just got the general, I hate Jeff Keighley and all that he stands for votes. And so, I mean, that's a lot of toxicity probably in that 40%.
Right.
I think the 27% and probably most of the 24% is probably your more objective-minded folks.
I think that's more of
just genuine gamers who are just hoping to get something.
I don't think it was a D, but like it definitely was a very mid show.
And then the 9% is just Jeff Keighley's like circle of like friends and influencers and whatnot.
Right. It's just
it was great, man. It was an amazing show.
A is just people who are full of shit.
So yeah, just really weird for him to put that out. Like, I don't know what he like. As soon as that thing started filling up, when it was at like 11,000 votes, I'm like, he's gonna delete this because it's not going the way that I think he thought it was gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
But he kept it up. I respect that. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. You are the producer. You are the showrunner.
Bold move, Cotton.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays out for him. But like I said, after Summer Game Fest show was over on Friday, I was just like, man.
Yeah, I feel like you, me, and like who else were we talking to? Prime.
I was like,
kind of like meh.
And overall, it was just like at that point, it became very clear. It was like Xbox, we need you.
Yeah, we need a hero.
Right? Honestly, man, that's what it was. I was like, we need a fucking hero right now because this is not good.
Right.
And I mean, it was everything. I think everybody felt that way. It's like Xbox, save us.
Mm-hmm.
We need something
Everybody
to be
was holding
excited
their breath.
about for the end of 2024 and early 25. We need something. But before we get to Xbox, we're just gonna skip over. We're gonna briefly touch on Ubisoft Forward. Dude, here's what Ubisoft Forward had to showcase. Star Wars Outlaws, which I thought looked good. I thought it looked good. I know there's people who are still indifferent about it. I'm pretty much sold on that. X Defiant, I think that game's got a lot of problems. It had a massive update drop today that fixed a lot of issues that I had with some of the gameplay. So I'll be looking forward to check that out. Skull and Bones, fart. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown is actually a fucking awesome game. So glad that's getting some DLC. The Rogue Prince of Persia is, I think, a roguelike game that looks pretty promising. And then the Sands of Time is like getting a remake.
Full remake, yeah.
So that was interesting. But then he got Rocksmith Plus, fart.
Interesting.
Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora DLC, fart.
Didn't that do all right though?
It did okay, but I mean,
Okay.
It's Ubisoft. I mean, like, where are the Tom Clancy games?
They're still making the Crew, okay.
Where's the Tom Clancy games?
Yeah, okay.
So you got the Crew Motorfest, fart. Anno, Pax Romana, fart. Assassin's Creed was like the highlight of the show.
Yeah.
So I was like legitimately excited about, and they showed some gameplay. That game looks fucking like I am definitely sold.
It looks
on Shadows.
Pretty fucking good. I just wish you were honest about Star Wars more.
Honestly, man, like I said, I don't. If it's got something that's stealth and there's a world to explore and it's an open world, I got to play it before I can really say if it's. And I'm looking at it more just from a game experience, playing a game. I'm not so much getting caught up in the whole Star Wars thing, other than the fact that it's not. Has nothing to do with Jedi.
Not that too, but like from what I was seeing, it was more about. It wasn't even just Star Wars fan. They just felt like it was that it's still like this. That's what I was reading.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. No, I mean, I don't think it looked to me. I'm cool with what it looks like. I'm interested in playing.
I just gotta see. I gotta see some real hands on and some fucking reviews on it before I even.
Dude, they went all in on Skullbones, and there is a metric fuck ton of shit coming out for that game.
And I really
wanted playing this game.
I wanted that to be good because I love the I love the
naval combat.
I love that shit. But it like they do so well in their games. Like I feel like it's kind of surprising that they're fucking it up so bad. And
obviously they're not fucking up. Apparently there's people playing it because I mean, when I say they have a ton of shit coming to that game, like the whole seminar, I was like, man, who the fuck is playing this game?
I wonder if it's one of those games that's so fucking broken that they're gonna keep repairing. It's gonna be No Man's Sky again. Like
I just think there are people that legitimately just think that game is fucking good because there's no way that they'd be supporting a game like that.
The question is, and I haven't played it, but the question is like Sea of Thieves is like an open sandbox and like really gives you no direction, and in my opinion, kind of boring.
Right.
But I see the appeal, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if this is kind of what people wanted because it's probably a little bit more action, a little bit more this, that, and the other. You gotta, I don't know. I wonder. I'd like to check. What's it on consoles?
Yeah, it's on everything. Yeah, jeez, consoles and PC.
I guess I forgot that it even came out. There you go.
Dude, that thing was such a fart in the wind when it came out. Like I swear, they didn't do shit to promote it.
Yeah.
And then it just like came out and it was like, okay, it's there, and then it was gone. You're just like, oh, wait, what? What's called? That came out. It was really weird.
Fair enough.
But hey, Jeff Keighley said, goes to Twitter, how would you grade Ubisoft, Ubi Forward, whatever it is? Let's check out what people thought of this one. Womp, womp, womp. 59,000 people voted. That means nobody gave a fuck about the Ubisoft Forward. They didn't even know what was going on.
Well, I mean, it's the middle of a fucking workday on a Monday.
Monday at 3:00. Yeah.
What kind of fucking I know?
Why are you doing a live event for this? This
always
is a
do
couple
this.
videos.
Well, aren't they based out of like France?
I don't fucking know.
That's what I'm saying. Like that because it was like around 1:00, right?
Yeah.
So that's why because I believe they're based out of France. I double check me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
You know why I'm putting that on a Monday at 1:00? Because I don't have anything to show.
Well, because you don't work.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just saying that's exactly why. I don't know why this thing existed.
Yeah, they always do that midday.
I mean,
shit.
like I said, Assassin's Creed has me hyped, and that was the fucking saving grace for this show. They waited to the end to show me the gameplay, and I was like, cool, looks fun, looks awesome. First time in a long time that I am just rock hard for an Assassin's Creed game.
Mm-hmm.
Like legitimately fucking fired up
Yeah,
for
I'm
it.
definitely more curious than normal on that one.
But man, what a fucking weird show that was. That was really disappointing. But it didn't matter because the day before, the Xbox showcase came out, and Tone,
we did a live
reaction.
Yeah,
You can see that now on our YouTube channel. But Tone, in my opinion, this is the best showcase from any publisher or showrunner like Jeff Keighley in quite some time.
in a couple of years. Like
This was an E3, explosive E3 caliber showcase.
Agreed.
Not only was it a huge win for Xbox, but it was also one for gaming in general. Because, dude, I needed something.
Yeah.
I needed something to get me excited about gaming going forward. I mean, other than this summer with college football and Astrobot in September and Assassin's Creed, I was like, what the fuck else is even coming out this year?
Mm-hmm.
Xbox answered the call.
Mm-hmm.
They came out, dude, and they showed off 30-plus games.
And a lot of them, if not most of them, look fucking awesome. And are like big level style games.
I mean, Call of Duty this fall, Indiana Jones this fall, Avowed this fall, Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred this fall, Flight Simulator 2024 this fall,
Crazy.
Dragon Age, The Veilguard, which we'll talk about here briefly, this fall, Assassin's Creed Shadows this fall. What else do we got here? I think Metal Gear Solid is this fall, maybe. I can't remember. Maybe it's not. No. I think it's 2025. Fallout 76 getting new content. Sea of Thieves getting new content. I mean, this was a massive fucking show. All these games are coming to PC, and a good chunk, if not all, a majority of them, are coming to Game Pass day one. This was a monster fucking showcase with heavy hit after heavy hit after heavy hit. This showed, and to me, dude, this showed that Xbox still has some fucking fight in them.
Mm-hmm.
This shows that they still have something to say. Mm-hmm. They have pride. Now, look, the whole hardware thing, they're never going to catch PlayStation or Nintendo in the hardware. That part of it's over. Mm-hmm. But as far as a publisher goes with games and pushing Game Pass and giving Game Pass some real value, Xbox is fucking alive and well. Mm-hmm. And they're fighting and kicking, and they're doing what they need to make some noise. And, dude, they came out at a time where the gaming industry was at a low, morale was low, excitement was low, and they came out and fucking just said, we got you. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it was a phenomenal show. Yeah. I mean, it was an A from me and Jeff Keighley. Unlike your show, Xbox scored out of 166,000 votes, a 66% said an A.
I think I haven't seen anybody say anything less than like an A or a B or like, you know, overall good or great show. Like, and listen, like we've been very critical with them and their shows for the last couple of years because, you know, I didn't even see a Forza, and I'm the first person to complain about Forza being such a big showpiece. I think it's a fucking waste of time, but you know, we didn't even see that this time.
We didn't see a Halo or Forza.
Yeah.
And Xbox's biggest and best showcase in years.
Yeah.
Two of the main tentpole franchises.
Yeah, they were on there.
Forza and Halo, nowhere to be found.
Yeah. And the thing about what they showed off, like, I know some of it's third party as well too, but like it was a diverse cast of games.
Yes.
And I'll say it as a fan, a lot of RPGs as well too, which was fucking hype. You know, that's that single player love that I want. And goddamn, they came correct on a lot of that shit. So it's to the point like where we were saying like the overlords, we're not bringing in the money probably for this Game Pass. That's why we're getting rid of, you know, all these companies. I haven't renewed my Game Pass in months.
Right.
Now I'm at this point like I'm probably gonna have to renew my Game Pass for the fucking fall now.
I mean, it's a
call to arms, basically.
I mean, if you look at all these games, and I mean, there's just all this a good portion of the stuff is coming out this fall.
And Stalker 2 looked legit.
Stalker 2 looked amazing. A couple games we're going to talk about here shortly. I mean, there was, again, South of Midnight looked amazing. Expedition 33, again, these are games we're going to talk about here when we break down some of the games that stood out to us. But, dude, I mean, just thank you, Xbox, for just showing up and saying, hey, we got you covered. Mm-hmm. Everything is fine. And a lot of these, several of these games are going to be coming to PlayStation 5. So, I mean, there's just going to be games for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And that's really, really great. But, Tom, we want to talk about some of the games that kind of stood out to us. Some games that kind of popped out. The first one I think you and I both want to just kind of chime in on is
Jesus.
South of Midnight, coming out in 2025 from developer Compulsion Games. They have We Happy Few, which was a very unique but artistically beautiful game.
Very popular in a niche crowd too.
Very popular in a niche crowd. But this comes from them. It's going to be an Xbox exclusive, set to come to Series X and PC. The new adventure will also be coming to PC via Steam and Xbox Game Pass. South of Midnight story sees protagonist Hazel searching for her mother, meeting all manner of folklore creatures come to life as she navigates the mysterious American South. As you can see there, she is riding a fucking giant-ass catfish. When we were watching it at first, it was like, is this video stuttering? But it's kind of got that stop-go animation to it a little bit, or kind of what we saw in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Like that animation, it's kind of got that. It's not like a smooth. It looks more like stop-go animation. But man, just the visuals in this game, especially when you get some of the combat, it looks fucking great.
Even the soundtrack already sounds like it's gonna be banging with it as well too.
Yes.
Like noticing when she's zipping through the trees and shit. I'm like, oh fuck, there's some sound in there.
Some really, really good stuff. It's gonna feature punchy third-person combat and exploration. Creative director David Sears, who was a creative director behind SOCOM 1 and 2, which is weird. I haven't heard from David Sears or of David Sears in a long time, and he was the creative director behind SOCOM 1 and SOCOM 2, and he's the creative director of this game. And he said, this shed more light on the story of the South of Midnight. Hazel, who is the heroine of the adventure, is said to be on a quest to repair a broken world by putting a stop to supernatural creatures who are all based on real-life folklore.
That's fucking gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at this. Like, this world is covered in, like, this blight or whatever.
It's already a gorgeous. When I saw this happen, I'm like, oh,
yeah, dude.
shit. I mean, I already got hype when I saw a massive fucking mutation catfish chatting with her,
But
right?
look at this shit, man. This combat looks fucking dope.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I could not get over just how beautiful this game looked in motion. The combat looked great. The art style looked great. And like Compulsion Games, like I said, they're a very talented developer, and it's got some Remnant 2 vibes to it with like its art style. But yeah, dude, this coming out in 2025, available on Game Pass. Obviously, when it comes to Game Pass games, the biggest question is always going to be what kind of like is it a good story? Is there a lot of content there to keep maybe replayability, things of that nature? But I mean, just presentation value, face value, this game looks fucking rad.
If there's something we both like, which is third-person punchy exploration games. So
yes,
yeah,
no, really. Oh, here's that part you were talking about,
Yeah,
which is
man.
kind of flying through the
dude, what that looks so
bayou or
fucking
whatever. I mean, look
sweet.
at this,
dude. Come on, look at the just looks so gorgeous, dude.
It looks like a beautiful game.
Goddamn.
So
Yeah.
really excited for this. We don't have a release date other than it comes out in 2025. But let us know your thoughts if you checked out South of Midnight. If you watch some of the gameplay videos, let us know what you think about it. I think this game looks fucking rad, dude. All right, Tone. Next game I want to talk about is Killer Bean. This comes from Killer Bean Studios. It is a studio comprised of one developer. One person is making this game. His name, I believe, is Jeff Liu. He is the creator. And this is based on a Killer Bean short film. There's been a couple like short films based around this character.
Not familiar, but looks funny.
But basically, you're like a coffee bean that's like John Wick.
Yeah.
And you're running around and engaging in combat with like Max Payne slowdown.
It does. With all the different outfits and shit you get in your Happy Meal, like the Halloween nuggets.
The gameplay trailer seems to suggest the game will feature both first and third person, with the mean bean in question performing various takedowns.
God.
Yeah, man.
Oh, fucking get
performing takedowns on unsuspecting enemies and taking down his fellow coffee beans with serious skill. Killer Bean is expected to launch on multiple platforms, including PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Switch, and PC. The trailer announced that the game is set to enter early access this summer. But I mean, dude, the humor. But I mean, it looks good in motion too. Like, it looks pretty entertaining. You got some good boss fights here with certain abilities.
This guy's
look at this takedown right here.
This guy's getting hired somewhere real quick.
Yeah, a single person made this game.
Is he using Unreal?
I did not see whether or not that is, but I mean, like I said, it looks
If
fucking
it's one
beautiful.
person developing, you almost got to wonder if it's Unreal 5.
Because you need an engine that's easy to
Exactly.
to
And
develop for.
one person can do that with Unreal 5.
It looks like Unreal 5. Yeah, I mean, it looks really fucking good. I mean, look at this first person. And you're going into an office building full of like beans. Oh, look at the boss battle here. That just
Yeah.
all right, man. Early access, summer 24. I'm there for Killer Bean, dude.
We're in.
I think that looks pretty rad. All right, Tone. Now this next game.
Oh shit.
Claire Obscure Expedition. This is slated to drop in 2025 on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC.
Oh shit.
This takes place in a world where a mysterious entity known as the Paintress, who repaints the world each year. When she does, she paints a cursed number on a monolith, causing everyone of that age to turn into smoke instantly and disappear. Each year, the number ticks down by 1, killing off younger and younger generations each time. Looks like we'll be playing as members of that expedition, putting together parties of characters to fight off opponents in turn-based combat, Tone. Now, here's what's rad. Like, if you watch this trailer, and you and I were watching this first, I think at first we were just like, is this a fucking Souls game?
Yeah.
Because there's action RPG, I mean, there's action RPG type action going on, but even you were just like, it looks like there's a party system. This is a turn-based RPG. And again, when you see the combat, I mean, first of all, this world looks fucking rad,
Holy
dude.
shit, dude.
The skyboxes and shit. I mean, look at that. That looks amazing. But wait till you see this combat. Like this right here is turn-based. Like you make your move, and then you go back to your party, and then you get ready for the next move.
My boner's getting a boner.
That combat in a turn-based game looks so fucking rad. You can time out your attacks so you get the perfect hits on it.
Combo things to do in that as well too, to be involved. Like, yeah, you got to kind of keep on it. But oh yeah, dude. No, I mean, it already looked good to me because it looked very like
Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, definitely Unreal Engine 5. Like very Souls, because what I love about Souls games are the enemies and how Lovecraftian sometimes they're inspired, and like this kind of like has like more of an animated look to that. But you know, I love that shit, so it's already catching my eye, right? So my interest is already peaked. I just can't play Souls games, but fuck, throw this in a fucking turn base.
Yeah.
What are you talking about now?
This promises immersive real-time offensive and defensive commands to enhance combat. Players will customize character stat growth, skill trees, and gear. All the menus that Tone loves.
That's bump and grind, Prime. Exactly. That's boner with a boner having a boner that's getting a boner.
That's getting boned.
There you go.
There you go. No, I thought this looked fucking rad. Like I said,
Yeah,
man,
man,
after we read after the fact that it was turn-based, I was like, what?
Yeah, get the fuck out of town.
That's a game I will definitely be keeping an eye on. That comes out in 2025, and it'll be on all platforms. All right, Tone. Now, this next game was supposed to be in developmental hell and supposed to be in a complete disastrous state. But, oh, God.
What happened?
Oh, the video is not supposed to be there.
Oh,
God.
the video. Oh, I thought we lost internet again. I'm used to that being the main thing.
Right, that's
Yeah.
usually the case. But
Hey,
let me move this up here so y'all can
Spectrum.
see this. That's better. All right, so Perfect Dark.
Man,
I know, man. Like we kept hearing all the horror stories, like, oh, it's in developmental hell.
I don't know who said it first because I felt like I was like, is this Perfect Dark?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if somebody had said it in the chat. I don't recall that part. I just know being like, wait a tick. Perfect Dark?
Yeah, it's been a while since the last one. Like, I think it was a 2000 or 2000. I mean, it's old.
When's the last? Yeah.
Man,
wasn't there there was a 360 game? Wasn't there, Perfect Dark?
I don't know. Prime would have to look that up. I don't know that off
Maybe
the
there
top of my
wasn't.
head.
I'm trying to remember. Anyways, I digress. Yeah, it's just been a while.
So, anyways, this is being developed by the Initiative and Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah.
They're both working on this together. There is no release window. We do know it's coming to Xbox and PC. But, I mean, based on what we saw here, that's got fluid movement mechanics, multifaceted combat sequences, and stealth-laden, objectives. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, basically, man, when I saw this trailer, as we're watching it full, man, I got 3 games that came to mind. Deus Ex,
Mm-hmm.
Crisis,
Okay.
And Mirror's or not is it Mirror's Edge?
Yeah, definitely Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge with
I even said that.
the parkour system in place.
Mm-hmm,
A nice balance of good first person action, some sci-fi Deus Ex vibes, and then of course like the parkour system that you would see in like Mirror's Edge or Dying Light. But dude, this looked really fucking good. I thought it looked fucking rad.
Yeah,
like, I was in developmental hell. I was like, this looks fucking awesome.
I know, and when I saw Crystal Dynamics, I'm like, well, it's in potentially some suitable hands. So okay, yeah, I'm surprised too. But yeah, I was watching this. I'm like, it looks pretty good. Like, yeah, let's do this.
Perfect Dark Zero was on Xbox. So was that like 2002? Or no, 2000 and PS2 came out in 2001.
Was it that long ago that the last time we got a Perfect Dark?
Maybe 2004 then? Or, man, it's been a minute.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Prime. If you're out there still, you may know this, but didn't Perfect Dark come to fruition because that company, Rare, I believe it was, had the license to Bond, but lost that licensing, and they were already developing
like
another one
shooter,
right? And then they end up having to like scrap it and just salvaging it by creating Perfect Dark. Is that accurate?
It was a 360 launch title.
So Perfect Dark Zero was. I thought so.
Man.
So.
Okay.
So was that awesome game that the 360s came with. Anybody remember that fucking puzzle game, the Crystal game, where you'd do the wheel turning and it was like that puzzle game? You remember that at all? What was that fucking game?
They lost his GoldenEye, but wanted to keep the ball rolling.
That's what it was. Who remembers that fucking 360 freebie game that you got that came on like anything with a memory card, and it was like 5, like they look like cogs. You turn them, and you have to match them up and like get crystals and beat them. And man, I was fucking addicted to that game. And because Xbox Live was still in its infancy to some degree, it was like you had leaderboards on it.
Peggle?
No, oh God, Dad,
I'll
get down
rad.
on some fucking Peggle though. Holy
no, Peggle, not pegging.
That too. That too. Man, I wish I remember the name of that fucking game on 360. I'm gonna go to my achievement list and look because it's way.
Anyways, to get us back on track, because he's old, he doesn't remember shit. But no, this was a much needed reveal for this game because of the press that was coming out about it, saying it was in developmental hell and that it's not coming along good. We get a trailer that shows gameplay, that shows some of the story. I thought that was Queen Cersei.
We thought that was Lena Headey at first.
Yeah, I thought that's who it was. But I mean, like I said, this was a fucking great trailer.
Yeah. That
has got me excited for this game. I'm not familiar with Perfect Dark at all, but like the way this game looks and plays. Shit, dude. I don't, like I said, I don't know how far out this is. We don't even have a release window.
Well, it'll be day one in Game Pass.
It'll be day one in Game Pass, and that's all that matters. But this looks pretty fucking.
If they
sweet,
bring
dude.
back old school like PvP with this as well too, like an old nice setup,
man,
just like real simple. Just keep it simple.
Basic, man. I don't need a pass.
Chopping, kneeling.
Man, real basic.
Right.
You have the buttons on the controller unused.
What's odd job?
Throw your hat around.
But you can't. I want to be odd job this turn. It's not fair.
All right, Tone.
Yeah.
This next game. Everyone was kind of shocked to see. I mean, leading up to Xbox Showcase, or I'm sorry, was that Summer Game Fest where they unveiled this? Unveiled the veil, the guard.
Yes.
So, anyways, this
Maybe?
Just prior to that, it was announced that Dragon Age was going to have a different name. What was it prior?
It was the lone wolf.
Lone Wolf.
Or something Dreadwolf.
Dreadwolf, that's what it was. Dreadwolf.
Yeah, Dreadwolf.
So they said it was going to be changed to what's it called? The Veil's Guard.
The Veil Guard.
The Veil Guard. And we actually got like a trailer for it. And when people saw the trailer, not everyone was sold on it because it was more a cinematic trailer. Everyone's like, we want to see the combat. We want to see what this game's going to play like. What are we getting? And we got a 22-minute gameplay trailer to show you what the combat's like and what the world is like. And Tone, I know this is something that you were really curious about, and you watched the trailer. I mean, you're a big fan of Dragon Age Inquisition. You love the combat in that game. Watching this trailer and seeing what we're getting from this game, how are you feeling about this coming out? And it comes out this fall.
Right.
Whoa.
I'm in a lot of fucking emotions about this. And I'm going to preface this by saying that this was one of my favorite new IPs of the 360 PS3 generation.
Yeah.
When Dragon Age dropped out in 2010 or whatever it was, I remember we were working at the Stop, and it might have been 2009. I don't remember, but I remember one of my friends there had picked it up, and she was like, "Yo, this shit's really good." And I'm like, "Man, it's a Western style RPG. Really, is it that good?" Like, and then I watch her play it. I'm like, "Fuck, this looks really good." And I think a bunch of us, Prime, I think this is one of those games. Did you pick it up too? Like, I think somebody picked it up, and our whole crew was like, "Yo, we all need to be playing this game." And then like 6 of us picked up the game, was playing at the same time, Dragon Age Origins, and we were like all blown away by it.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, it did take from like the Final Fantasy 12 style, which was, you know, kind of the gambit system, and you could do different stuff with your characters and have them set up to do stuff when you weren't controlling them. But outside of that, the combat and the tactfulness combat was what drew everybody in.
Right.
It was a little bit of a slower burn, but it was worth it because it was really, really fucking good. And I'll talk about some of the lore here in a second and my concern. But you had a DLC for this as well, too, that came out for this. One of the best DLC pieces I ever...
For Inquisition?
For Inquisition.
Okay.
Or no. For Dragon Age Origins. I can't remember it off the top of my head. It was The Awakening, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
That came out... And I did part 2 on day 1, though, because it... Oh, yeah, of course. Nerd. I had the Isaac armor, too.
Was it Dead Space Isaac armor?
Yeah. EA doing... Remember EA used to do crossover shit for a while?
Shit.
It was great DLC. Dragon Age 2 came out. They changed the combat to be more actiony. They like cut half of what made the combat in the first game good, made it more like speed through, and it was less like locale. You were basically in a city going to places around the city, and it was just like you felt more in a box.
Yeah.
And I probably put 15 hours in that and walked away. I was like, I can't do this. Like, so I was really bummed. Then 2014 hits, Inquisition comes out. Inquisition takes the combat from Origins and 2, mashes them together, so it's still a little bit more tactful, but also a little bit more like
real time,
speedier,
yeah.
Which is great. And I loved Origins. It was open world. It was fucking massive. I put 130 some hours into the fucking game, including all the DLC, because the DLC was like, you got one whole area, you did all this other stuff. I say all that to say, I love this series.
Mm-hmm.
It was new when it was new, but it also like created such a new, amazing world with so much lore that you wanted to learn. And again, I'll dive into that in a moment very briefly. So we've been waiting 10 fucking years for a game that has also been in developmental hell.
Yep.
Mind you, BioWare is not the same BioWare.
No, they're
once the doctors started leaving and everything as well too, long ago.
Yep.
It's been in hell. So my concern is what is this going to look like now? A, due to that.
Right.
B, the changing of the name and stuff like that. The only reason that's concerning is that they say they didn't want to focus. I read some of the stuff. They said they don't want to focus on the villain side of it. They want to focus on the hero, which is kind of a bummer because you get to see Solus in this as well too, and where they were leading with him, because you had to do the DLC to really learn more about it, was very compelling.
Right.
And that's why I wanted more of that. Like, and hopefully we still get that. It's just they're also trying to focus on the hero. But I was also hoping maybe we'd still get to play Solus. Like, I like that option to play like the other side of it. But then the question, some of us are already saying, like, is Solus really the bad guy? Is it a certain point of view, right? It's perspective. Anyways, combat was the biggest thing we were worried about. We had heard rumors that the combat was going to evolve again, and it has a little bit, but we had heard it was going to be more of an action RPG.
Right.
Well, the good news is that this doesn't look like it's full action RPG. It still has some familiarity, has the blocks down there.
Yep.
Though albeit some people are like, are we still kind of limited compared to we were?
Right.
It's hard to tell. Some people are like, this is obviously the first part of the game. Any Dragon Age at the first part of the game looks nothing like the second half.
Right.
So maybe and hopefully there is. Looks like you can still kind of switch to party members, but how much hands-on you get with them, it seems a little bit more dumbed down in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
So, say all that. This looks good. Some people were complaining about the art style direction that they went.
Yeah, people were saying it's cartoony. I don't think it looks.
I don't think it was. Yeah, it's still. Dragon Age has always.
Inquisition kind of had like
had a little bit more of like a colorful palette to it, but compared to even Origins, I think definitely it drew back more. Where Origins looked more. People want more of the realism in this.
They want more Dark Souls looking stuff.
They want more. Yeah, they want more of that. And I don't think that's not even on my radar with this.
Right.
As long as it just looks good when it comes out. Right.
Right.
It's definitely doesn't yet to me feel and look like this generation just by watching these.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe as polished, but I digress there. It's still not nothing that I wouldn't want to play at this point, and I'm definitely curious about some of this stuff. So. Now, all that said, the last thing I want to say is that my concern, my worry is this, and it comes from the love I had for this. What I loved about this series, like I said, was about the lore, and like it's hard in this day and age to create a new product, have a new mythos, have a new lore, and have it be deep. This is actually very deep. If you took time to read some of the stuff in the games prior, that you could sit there for hours reading the shit, and I would do that because I was really into it. Like Andraste, like I want to know like what's going on with the Templars and the fucking mages. They're always back and forth in here. We thought we were gonna be in the Imperium. Like I hope we're still going there, like involving with the Templars, because that we hadn't explored that area yet.
Right.
That's a big piece of Ferelden that we've never really been into the north side of it, and that's where I really, really want to go. Dorian was a great character in Inquisition. He was a Templar, and I'm like, I want to know what's going there. We never explored that side of it.
Right.
The Canary, we already saw Canary in this as well too. And we had Bull in the last game, who was a great character, you know. But you know what's going on with them? Like right now, I feel like I know they want to focus on Dreadwolf, but I want to know more. Like, have the people that have stuck around BioWare, do they have the love for the lore
right.
that those prior were trying to build and did? Because that's where I'm more concerned right now about that after seeing the combat is like, have we at least kept that around? What does that look like?
Right.
So that was a little bit longer winded than probably everybody wanted to hear.
I think that's important to get, man, because like I said, I know there's a lot of like dividedness right now amongst this community. And there's some people that really dig it, and there's some people that are still very kind of like cautiously optimistic.
And this is a community, and I will tell you, like purists of Dragon Age, and we were talking about this. Purists of Dragon Age will tell you all day that the best of the series is Dragon Age Origins, and I won't debate that.
Right.
Because I love Inquisition for all that it was. Because of the open worldness and the things you could do in it. But as a combat and like setting up what they did with Dragon Age Origins, that like the Grey Warden scenario and the choices and how detrimental, like you could make a choice with a character and that character's dead in 2 or 3 scenes. Right. Or it could go the opposite way. So yeah, that game was an amazing game. So I get that. But you know, for me, it's just overall about the lore and the stuff like that. And people are definitely split right now on, and they've been split on this since Dragon Age 2, realistically. So it's going to be interesting to see where this ends up. Because, you know, after being in developmental hell and then surprising a shadow release this fall,
that's wild that it's coming out.
I mean, how do you keep that under wraps like that?
Yeah, I mean, I really thought like if they were going to announce this, like, okay, that's going to be like fall 2025. Like we're still going to be a little bit of a ways out, you know. It's a fall 20. When they said fall, well, this is fall 2025. I was like, what? But they didn't give us a month. They just said fall 2024. So I feel like that gives them a little wiggle room to push it back. You know, fall, I think sometimes is considered like November, December. I mean, before winter is like January, February, March. So, I mean, fall means a lot of things. And, I mean, they could easily say, hey, this is December, or maybe, you know, and that gives them room to push it back if it needs to be pushed back.
Yeah. And, you know, with me, like, I'm very, very, very weary of EA anything.
Right.
They're a Ubisoft to me. They say they hang out in the same fucking bunk beds to me. So, like, this is a series that I really, truly love, at least at some point. So, like, this is still something I don't know if I'm very particular about pre-ordering these days after working. I'm exhausted from the GameStop thing, but also just how the industry's been with this shit and how much they sucker punch you sometimes. So, but for all intents and purposes, this looks like there's a lot of potential here yet. And, you know, I really hope that there's a lot of TLC still put in the end. Man, I feel like even last summer I was reading shit about BioWare.
Yeah.
And now this is coming out in fall. Like, fuck, man, this could be a pretty decent game, or this could be a hot pile of fucking trash.
I can't remember the last time I heard good news on about it. I mean, the last thing I remember hearing was that Casey, what was his name? The developer,
one of the last doctors. Wasn't he?
one of the main guys from like BioWare. Casey, I can't remember what was his name. Prime.
I don't remember. Something
Casey, that he left, and I was like, is there anybody fucking left there that has a clue to what they're doing?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hope, right? But like, it's hard to tell. And like, you know, I know Dungeon says Baldur's Gate 3 has set a bar pretty high, but the difference is like, yes, they have, but Dragon Age is also a new IP creating its own lore, or at least at one point was, where Baldur's Gate can just easily go into their bookshelf or D&D Beyond and pull the lore. So there's easy work for them to do comparatively.
Yeah, I was reading somebody on X said, you know, we got Dragon Age 4 when we got Baldur's Gate 3. I was like, oh.
I actually see something like similar. That's what. Well, and a lot of people actually have made that comment too. Said that the combat in Origins, especially, was more closer to Baldur's Gate 3 than all the other ones, which is true.
Right.
But it's not necessarily the same either because it's not turn based either.
Right. And the last thing I want to mention was Inquisition open world.
Yeah.
So now this one is more linear, from my understanding.
Which kind of bums me out as well too, because Origins wasn't fully open world. You had points you would go to, and you get to that area,
like biomes and stuff. That you can
it
go
was like
through.
areas. Like here, I'm going to the swamp, or here I'm going to this cavern, or whatever. Whereas Inquisition had a mix of the two, so a lot of great open world, which was great because you got to explore big pieces of Ferelden.
Yeah.
You got a mount. You could have different mounts. That was gnarly.
Yeah.
I was riding a fucking red reindeer all day. It was fucking sweet, man.
Now, I'm curious to see how this turns out, man. Like I said, this fall is just, now all of a sudden it's fucking just jam-packed full of games.
Yeah.
Third-party, first-party stuff from all these publishers. But this is the one I think people are going to be really keeping their eyes on, just because this is coming up quick now. I mean, this is fall 2024. We're 4 or 5 months away from that release, and this is the first Dragon Age game we've gotten since 2014.
Jesus.
10 years. And all of a sudden, they're like, hey, here it comes.
I was literally on my Dragon's Keep last night trying to see my save files were still out there, like because I'm trying to figure out, because they're not going to let you import your saves. They said the technology is way too different that they can't do it.
I believe that.
If you were linked to Dragon's Keep, which I was, thankfully, but I may have also lost my PlayStation save in the great PlayStation disaster of 2015. So I don't know if that save is still out there in the cloud. Like I'm thinking about downloading the game. I'm thinking about downloading or putting the game back on there and seeing if I can re-download the old save and make sure it's linked properly to Dragon's Keep, because if I can possibly see my old character show up in the game, which is the rumor that from Inquisition, like the Inquisitor could show up, that'd be fucking gnarly.
That would be.
So
I think, if I remember correctly, if I was reading it right, I think Dragon Age Inquisition on Xbox has that FPS boost, so you can play it at 60 frames on the Series X. So that's pretty rad.
I ain't got no time, but I wish.
I know. All right, John. This next game, we knew we were getting another Doom game, but fucking A.
God fucking A, right?
I was not expecting Doom: The Dark Ages. Either are we going to continue the storyline from Doom Eternal, or continue to move the franchise forward in that direction? But instead, we're kind of going back a little bit. We're going way back. This isn't a continuation of Doom Eternal. It's a return to the past, literally and spiritually, taking us back to a time when the Slayer was wielded as the ultimate super weapon of gods and kings. That's already a dope-ass description. This trailer was, at first I was just like, is this Doom guy? And I was like, no, it's not Doom guy. Because this guy's wearing a fucking, he's wearing a fucking, like a pelt, and he's got a shield. I'm like, what is this? What is this game? And then when he lands, just like, oh, it is Doom guy. Creative director Hugo Martin says, at the start of every development cycle, I play the original Doom again and have the team play it too. I realized that we still didn't hit the mark. In this one, you're heavier, more powerful, and grounded. We're making strafing to aim a thing again.
Oh, shit.
You'll be weaving between projectiles just like you did in the original Doom to deliver that super shotgun blast to the chest. It almost creates this three-dimensional shoot-'em-up puzzle that you're weaving your way through. So, obviously, in Doom Eternal, verticality was a thing. You were always jumping and moving and flying around. This one, you're going to be a little bit more grounded. You're not going to have that verticality. This is presenting a flatter, denser combat arena set across more ecologically diverse environments than anything we've seen in the series so far. So, I mean, like I said, this was just fucking wild.
Sounds metal as fuck.
I mean, look, dude, when he has the gun that has it's like a wood chipper or something, and he's got skulls in it, and it's grinding up skulls as the ammo, and using that, I was just like, all right, dude. This is fucking Doom for
metal
sure.
as fuck.
I thought this looked fucking rad. This will be coming to PlayStation 5, which is surprising because this is a Bethesda title. But Phil Spencer actually answered the question on that. He said, Doom is definitely one of those franchises that has a history of so many platforms. It's a franchise that I think everyone deserves to play. When I was in the meeting with Marty, that's the creative director, Hugo Martin, a couple years ago, I asked Marty what he wanted to do, and he said he wanted to sell it on all platforms. Simple as that.
See, I feel like that's two sides of that, because like I love Phil. He's a great face for the brand, but I also think he's got to fluff a lot. He's a fluffer. I almost got to wonder if, one, they're trying to test out to see like what that looks like trying to get their games instead of just on Game Pass, other platforms, what they can do for money.
Oh yeah.
What attracts other people to spend that money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if this wasn't already planned long time ago, which it sounds like it might have been before they kind of pulled the cord on it. So, did they already make this plan with Sony and they all kind of shaked hands on it, or is
if I remember correctly, when they first bought Bethesda, I think Phil Spencer said it would be a case by case basis, and I do believe them when he said that, because it was just like, I know there's some games that are going to be exclusive because you don't spend that kind of money to put it on all platforms, but at the same time, Doom is a game that's well entrenched on all platforms.
Yeah,
it's been everywhere. It would behoove. I think it would be silly for them to pull that off other platforms. Right. And just rely on Game Pass, where I do feel like this was a game that was probably day one. Once, like I said, once you talked to the creative director, said, hey, where do you want to put it? I want it on all platforms. That's the end of that discussion. So I do feel like that if there's one thing, if Phil said something about several games, this is the one where I believe, like, yeah, he wants this. This is a game that was planned from the start to be on all platforms.
Okay, so that's my setup for the next piece here, which is like, and I know we're not going to have the answer anytime soon,
right?
But what are they going to do with Skyrim? Are they going to try it? I wonder if they're going to try it. Like, is that a game they see being like that same kind of scenario where, like, it needs to be everywhere? Because to me, in my head, Skyrim sells way more than Doom. You'd want that everywhere outside of Game Pass, because if you put it on anywhere else, it's gonna make money.
He did an interview with Ryan McCaffrey on IGN, and he basically said, like, look, all of our games will be available to buy or rent and available on Game Pass to our audiences, and we want to get our games on as many platforms as possible. I think they've seen with the success of Sea of Thieves and even Grounded on the PlayStation Store, where it ranked up on there. I think at this point now, something like Indiana Jones or Starfield, maybe that never sees the light of day on there. Mm-hmm. But I do think something like Skyrim is based on this Project Latitude initiative that they got supposedly going on within Xbox. I do feel like that Skyrim is a game that would be out there day and date.
That's the way I look at it, because we talk about...
Or not Starfield, I'm sorry. Did I say Elder Scroll?
Yeah, just, again, we've been talking about recently when they were shutting down studios and where the money's coming from, where you got to make the money. Like, that's just kind of what I wonder, like, foresight, right? Do we kind of think about those sort of things? And I got to assume they've got to be as well, too.
I mean, and I just don't know anymore. Like, I mean, Tom Henderson had a report come out earlier this week and said that they are doing a Halo 1 remake, a remake of the first game, Combat Evolved, and that's being considered for PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I feel like they're at that point. I think Skyrim will be a next-gen Xbox exclusive. It's very possible, but I do feel like that would go against what they're planning on right now. I really don't. I think Elder Scrolls is the least likely of them to be an Xbox exclusive. I just feel like that's something that they're going to want to get on. I mean, they're in a point right now, dude, where they've already admitted, like, look, we're trying to maximize the profits. Mm-hmm. We're trying to make as much money as possible. Now, is that going to be enough to, like, make Xbox the place to buy when new consoles come out? Possibly. Elder Scrolls is a very popular franchise. But, I mean, at the same time, it's just like they've been doing this for several years now, and they can't seem to catch Sony or Nintendo when it comes to hardware, no matter what fucking narrative they try to push. I think it's just like one of those things where it's like, look, everyone's going to buy these PlayStations. Everyone's going to buy Nintendo. Let's just get our fucking games on these platforms.
Right, and like they could do a day one exclusive Game Pass maybe, and then 6 months down the road say we'll have it on other consoles.
I really think, I think it's going to be one of those, I think that's a valid thing too. I mean, right now we know that Indiana Jones is Xbox exclusive, but Indiana Jones is one of those games that's kind of being floated around that Project Latitude. Like, that could be on PlayStation consoles in a couple months, and that's one way to do it. And it's what's basically what Sony does with their games on PC. We release it on platform first, on console first, PS5. Mm-hmm. Wait a couple years, then drop it on PC. I mean, Xbox could do the same thing with their games. Day and date Game Pass, 6 months later. Plus, it takes the pressure off the studios, the development studios. You don't have to create two versions of a game for two different platforms. You make ours first, make it the best version possible. Get that out the door into Game Pass, get people hyped, and then the studio, which is, I'm sure they'd have some people working on a PS5 or a Nintendo Switch version, then move the rest of the studio over to that, get that up, ramped up. 6 months to a year later, drops another platform.
Because that's the point there. That's why, like, when you first say it might be a next gen exclusive, well,
they're not going
to make $70 billion.
They're not going to make $70 billion back by putting a game on Game Pass anymore. That's just not going to happen. I mean, with all the games that they've got going in there, they need to make money somewhere else. They're not going to make it on hardware. They're going to make it on that Game Pass subscription, but the price has to start going up on that soon with all these fucking titles. The only other way you're going to make that money back is getting it out on every platform possible. And that's what they're basically alluding to in all of his interviews. I mean, he keeps saying, he doesn't say which games, but Phil Spencer keeps saying, we will get our games on as many platforms as possible.
Yeah, and like Skyrim is, I mean, this is also a game that's had 75 different iterations since 2011 on 74 different consoles.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a moneymaker, and those people keep buying it every fucking time. Like, is that something that, I mean, that they're basically like fucking Uncle Scrooge and the money in the what is it, the money bin there.
I just don't think they give a fuck about hardware anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, they care about it. They know it's important. It's part of the brand.
Well, they have to say
I just
that.
don't think it is the most important thing to them anymore.
I don't think it's been for years, but I think at this point, I think that they know, like, moving forward, their money is going to be trying to recoup back and work on that software.
It's all going to be on the software side of things and getting games out. And people will buy on PlayStation, will buy Halo.
Absolutely.
They will buy. I mean, we saw. They're buying Sea of Thieves. That was like the third best selling game. And I wouldn't even say Sea of Thieves is a fucking tentpole franchise for Xbox. I wouldn't say it's a fucking Halo or a Forza or a Gears. That's just like one of the mid-tier Xbox titles, and that fucking thing shot up the charts on PlayStation.
Right.
Grounded, I would say, is below Sea of Thieves in terms of like the following, and that's sold like crazy on PlayStation. Yeah. If they continue to put these mid-tier games on there and they keep doing well, they will throw fucking Halo and Gears and all that shit on PlayStation, and people will pay $70. And when you have a 2-to-1 ratio in the hardware front, all those people buying stuff, that's how you make your money back.
That's how you do it. And
the only people that fucking care about that get mad about, are fucking fanboys.
Yeah.
That's really the only people that get mad about. Anybody else, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, I think that Trick, I think that's definitely, I think there's two sides to that, but I gotta kind of wonder if, I mean, they're still all in on it, right? So if right now they're still doing it, day one idea. I think that had they known they were going to buy Activision, they might have changed, like saying, okay, maybe it's day one on Game Pass, but if you have Game Pass, you're only paying for half the game. Anything differently, because, you know, no matter how you cut it, having a $18 a month sub and putting these games that could make $70 a pop, even $100 if you buy like some of the big editions, like for like Call of Duty, right? Like they're eating shit all day, like probably just watching pennies fly out the door.
The Call of Duty Black Ops 6 right now with Game Pass, there's you have to have a different tier. It's not like super convoluted, but it's not as simple as like, hey, I have core Game Pass, I get the full Call of Duty experience. You get a portion of the game for the core. You got to have the PC or the ultimate version to get like the full game. So I mean, like, you can see their nickel and diming stuff with Call of Duty. I mean, if you want to get the best Call of Duty experience, you have to get the best Game Pass Ultimate. So, I mean, it's just like look, man, I feel like a price hike is coming to Game Pass at some point, which it has to, with all these fucking games that they showed. I mean, you got to make money somehow. And if you're going to keep the Game Pass price low, then you got to make your money somewhere else, and that's on other platforms.
Yeah, so I kind of wonder if they wish they'd have rethought that idea, but they haven't changed it yet.
They're all in, that's for sure.
They haven't changed it yet, you know, and I guess, you know, who knows what the future holds, but hopefully it's still day one. And I got something in my fucking eye.
Are you going to make it, dude?
I don't fucking know.
Oh, well.
I don't fucking.
I hope this shit
spit in my eye.
Man, I think Tone's dying, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Something.
So,
pour this in here.
The entire Xbox showcase. You and I were going, where is it? We're waiting for. I kept saying they got to give me a one more thing before we go.
Fucking times.
3 times. It was like watching The Watchers. They kept giving me a fucking twist. Like another ending. I was like, give me the but. We have one more thing. And finally, Sarah Bond came out after showing us some fucking absolutely pointless new Xbox systems coming out. The Xbox 2 terabyte digital console at $600 is a fucking joke. That is one of the most laughable things that I thought. That was probably like the worst thing they showed in their showcase. The Xbox Series X digital title with 2 terabytes being $600 4 years after the Xbox Series X launched is a fucking clown show move. That way I was just like, no way, dude. There's no fucking way. If the PS5 Pro comes out at $499, no one's buying your fucking Series X 2 terabyte for $600, bro. No way. That I couldn't believe that thing. But we're waiting for it, Sarah. But
you see something in my eye?
Oh my God. Let me see your eye. You're fine. Stop being a bitch. So Sarah Bond's like, hey, we got one more thing. And Tone, we finally got the trailer we were looking for. But it wasn't the Gears trailer we thought we would get.
No, it's even more hype in my opinion.
I thought we were getting Gears 6.
Nope.
The continuation of Kate's story and whatnot. And all of a sudden this trailer was like, is that young Marcus?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a scar on his face. He's fighting a load. It's like, what is going on? And all of a sudden you were like, dude, that's a retro Lancer. And you got the emergency system on the TV, and we're like, oh, what is going? And you were like, wait, is this Emergence Day?
Yeah.
And not just like the battle after Emergence Day. Emergence Day is happening right now.
Fucking rad. You
got this fucking, fight to the death in Marcus's house. And this is a fucking intense battle. And of course, you've got this fucking just beautiful rendition of Mad World playing throughout this
very
whole
quietly,
fucking trailer.
Yeah, you can hear
this whole trailer. And it was just so subtle but so good. And then like you get this fucking awesome takedown, it blows the fucker's head off, and you're like, dude, that's fucking dope. And then all of a sudden everything starts shaking, and you're just like, uh-oh, emergency hole, look, E-hole's coming in. And once everyone started piecing things together, it's like, oh, this is fucking a prequel. This is like E-Day. Or it's like, wait, does that mean?
Yeah, it means.
Does that mean if Marcus is here? Does that mean
it means
we're gonna see?
There it is.
There he is.
And I swear to fucking God, I thought I was gonna start crying.
Misty-eyed.
Oh my God.
People everywhere were like, oh shit, it's fucking Dom.
Yep.
And like that was like, and just the music kicks in. And then you get a view of what's that city? Is it Kanala or Kantola?
I can't remember the name of the city. I just know that the planet's called Sarah.
Yeah, and like E-Day, Emergency is happening right now, and it's Gears of War E-Day, and you're just like, whoa. You and I were fucking hyped.
Yeah, man.
We were excited about it because like I said, man, especially like after playing Gears 4 and 5, I'm like really digging because. I played Gears 1, I played Gears 2, and I played Gears 3, and I love those games, but I feel like the storytelling in 4 and 5 have really taken that to another level.
Gears was never, man.
Gears 2 was good. Don't get me wrong.
Gears 2 was Jesus Christ,
yeah.
But it was never like, it was really centered on, like, it wasn't the deepest story either. I mean, it was great for what it was for a game, a dark, gritty fucking mess of a fucking awesome third-person cover shooter, but... 4 and 5, which I need to go back and finish through.
So good.
Yeah, that's what everybody says, that the stories are actually they're much deeper, better written, more compelling, a little bit more colorful, which is another thing about this is like it's going back to that little darker and grittiness as well too, in some ways.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool too. I just don't know if they got hold of Cliff, see it was okay.
So Gears of War E-Day is ditching Gears 5's open world levels. Oh my God, that beer makes me fucking
Jesus,
burn.
whose ass did you eat?
Man, it's a hot I'm a hot mess right now, y'all. But they're ditching the catching whip that? That's like
shit.
Little Caesars and peanut butter wheat beer.
I'm leaving. Oh my God.
He's downwind, y'all.
Oh.
So anyways, they're ditching the open world levels for a more linear experience, which is more like in conjunction with like the original Gears. This is set 14 years before the first Gears of War game. Creative director Matt Cersei said this: "We've worked on Gears now in our studio for like 10 years. We've got a really good handle on things that work really well in Gears, as well as like things you want to keep pushing and trying. We know for sure that Gears, has those linear epic moments in time." Cersei said when asked about E-Day taking the series back to its more linear roots, "We've done a bunch of it. We've done a bunch of them. We know how to do that. And we will absolutely be doing more of that," Cersei confirms, pointing out how Gears of War E-Day is set entirely within the city of Kelowna and how a cityscape naturally lends itself to a more linear opportunity. So it's going to take place entirely in this city.
Like a lot of early fucking Gears 1 was like that.
Exactly. E-Day won't be set over just one day, but over multiple days. It'd be natural to assume the former, given that E-Day was a singular catastrophic event in the Gears of War world, but apparently the new game will focus on Marcus and Dom as they deal with the fallout of the Locust invasion, not just the initial attack.
Love it. And are we going to get a Carmine? I think that joke's gone, though, but we're going to get a Carmine. And then 2, I just want to see the Coltrane, baby. That's all I want to see.
Wants to see the
Are we gonna get it? Hell yeah! Everybody wanted a piece of the Coltrane, baby.
I thought this trailer was fucking rad. But now the question is, like, how far off is this game? And, based on the stuff that I've been reading, it sounds like this is a 2026 title. Like, this is still quite a ways out. I would have loved to have seen, like, fall 2025. But, I mean, this was, like, it says in-engine, but this is not captured on an Xbox Series X. This is actually captured. It was formed with the CG group Blur Studios, I think it was. It was funny because at first Jeff Keighley reported that, and everyone crucified him and said he's a fucking idiot and that he's wrong, only for Xbox to come and tell Jeff, no, he's right.
Yeah,
this
because the
not,
fanboys just can't stop trigger.
They're toxic.
Yeah.
My favorite detail was them becoming friends after the death of Dom's brother and how it brought them together. I mean, like I said, man, there are some really good story arcs in the original Gears games.
Yeah, man.
I'm just saying, like, the quality of them have expanded exponentially in 4 and 5. And the folks at Coalition have said they're not done with that storyline. That is something that's still very important and still something very much that they're working on, but they needed something else. They wanted to do something else to kind of like fill in the gaps of everything that happened prior to Gears of War, which I think is a great idea. I mean, if you can take that level of storytelling that we got in 4 and 5 and put it into events happening before Gears to really flesh out those relationships that you come across in Gears 1, 2, and 3, I think that's a fucking win, dude.
That's huge because you find fucking Marcus in a fucking jail cell, empty jail cell, just sitting there, and like all you hear about is E-Day, and you had to read things and try to figure out like this finally puts some pieces to the puzzle. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that basically concluded their show. They had a whole Call of Duty Black Ops 6 stream after the Xbox event, but I mean, Call of Duty is Call of Duty. I did watch some of the gameplay trailer. I don't know, man. I don't know. Now they've added the ability to sprint in all directions. They've added the ability to dive sideways and like lay on your back and roll over and shoot. And I'm just like, what? Can I just play a basic shooter, man?
Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, they added some movement. I'm just like, this is like for my kids. This is for my kids.
It's like Black Ops 3 or 4 doing some bullshit.
I mean, they're taking it to a whole new level with its movement system, and like I said, man, I think it's awesome that they're finding new ways to create the game and make stuff. But man, like, I am so over the people that abuse the movement systems, whether it's bunny hopping or dolphin diving or fucking any of this shit to compensate for their inability to fucking be tactical or whatever. I just can't get into that shit, man. I can't, and that's one of the things like X Defiant. They released an update today that penalizes bunny hopping. They added a lot of flinch to sniping so people couldn't just sit back and snipe. They're trying to make it more skill-based with your weapons and your tactics as opposed to just bouncing and jumping around. I fucking hate bunny hopping in games, and that's such a prevalent thing in Call of Duty, and now they're adding all this diving. I'm just an old man on his porch yelling, "Get off my lawn!" at this point. And I get it, and hey, that's fine, man. I'll be excited to watch my kids play it. But the only thing that I am legitimately excited about with Black Ops 6 is we're going back to round-based zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Round-based. Like we saw in the original Black Ops 2 and 3. Don't get me wrong. I know there's people that fucking love the whole open-world zombie thing. I know Cuddles. I think Trick's a fan, too, because he played with Liam. And that's great. But, like, I felt like when they did that was just a cheap way for Activision to just put Warzone in every mode. They put Warzone in the single player, making an open world, and you put Warzone it was basically Warzone in the fucking what's the missions that you play cooperatively. Spec Ops, open world, and now you got the open world and zombies. Just like, dude, you're just being fucking lazy, just making it the same fucking shit in every mode. Give me my round-based zombies. I want a linear map.
Hey man, if they're
unlock stuff, I want fucking secrets hidden everywhere.
Right.
And let me, dude, round base is just so much more fun strategy.
I like the round base better too.
So the fact that we're getting round base back, thank you fucking God.
He thanks you.
I am looking forward to playing zombie, and I can dive on my back and do all that shit in zombies mode.
You do that on Saturday nights anyway.
Oh, that was rude. But overall, I thought it was a solid weekend thanks to Xbox. Summer Game Fest was just kind of like there.
Yeah.
It was okay at best. Ubisoft, I don't know why the fuck they were there. Nintendo's being Nintendo doing everything, and supposedly Sony's saving all their firearm, all their ammo for September when they do a showcase to promote the PS5 Pro and their 2025 lineup of games. I don't fucking know. All I know is Xbox showed up. They got me excited for what's coming out this year and next. It got me excited in the brand again. They fucking crushed it. And that's all I want as a gamer. I want to know that my Xbox Series X is going to have plenty of fucking games coming to it and a lot of shit through my Game Pass subscription. Thank you, Xbox, for fucking delivering and actually giving us something to be excited about.
There you go.
Boom.
He thanks you.
Let us know if you watched any of these trailers, if you watched any of these shows. Let us know in the comments below what you thought. What games stood out to you? What are you excited about? What were you disappointed with? Sound off. We had a lot to say. We know you have a lot to say. Let us know in the comments. We want to hear from you.